everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English class. This is Stephanie Ponteau. This is the Vision Church Level 2 class. There's my contact information. And this is part 2 of the class for Wednesday, May 27th. So I hope all of you are safe and well, and you are enjoying your family and this extra time at home. And I am glad that you came back to English class. So we're going to, like I said, we are in Unit 9. We're on page 120, Lesson F. But before we get started, don't open your books yet. Let me just tell you what we're going to try to cover in today's lesson. So we're on page 120. What we're going to do, oh wait, let me find my pointer. This is my handy dandy pointer. So we're going to read a customer invoice, and we're going to review vocabulary words, and we're going to review let's and let's not. So we'll probably get to let's and let's not in part 3 of today's lesson. But in this lesson, we're going to focus on that customer invoice. So, invoice. What is an invoice? Invoice. And it's spelled just like it sounds. In and then voice, like the sounds coming out of your mouth is your voice. So an invoice is like a bill, and it shows the goods and services that you purchased and what they cost. So the goods would be the things that you paid for or that you bought, and the services will be things that were done for you. Like service would be getting your grass cut or getting something repaired in your house. Service is something that someone does for you. So an invoice just kind of lists all that for you. And so that's what we're going to do in this lesson. We're going to look at an invoice. All right, so look at page 120 in your student book. And there is an invoice. Let's see here. Let me adjust myself here. Okay, so let's look at this invoice. So mine is here. You can't really see it very well with my pointer, but look in your book along with me, and we're going to look at this invoice. So, and I'm going to ask you some questions about the information that is on this invoice, okay? All right, so first question is, looking at this invoice at the top of page 120 in your book, right here, what is the name of the plumbing company? And the name of a company is usually going to be at the top of the invoice. So with this one here, the name of the plumbing company is A+ Plumbing Repairs, right? You see that right at the top left, okay? What is the customer's name on this invoice? It's at the top right. Yep, it is Victor Waters, okay? What is the service technician's name? And that's on the top right side. Yep, that's Russ. And the service technician is going to be that person who is doing the service, doing the work that you're paying for, okay? So the service technician is going to be the person doing the work. All right, what's the date of this invoice? Yep, it's March 17th, 2018. Okay, all right, let's see here. And what are the problems that are being fixed at the customer's home? And that's going to be in what you call the body of the invoice. Okay, so right here, below that orange line, that's where it lists all the work that's going to be done. So the problems that Victor is having is he's got a clogged sink, his shower is leaking, and he's got a toilet that is overflowing. And it's interesting because two of those problems is what I was having when I had to have a plumber come to my house about a month or so ago. All right, so that's the problems that the customer is having. All right, so now let's look at exercise A. All right, so exercise A, it says, read the questions. Look at the invoice and fill in the answer. So, of course, if we were in class, we would go through this together. So what I want you to do, I want you to pause the video and answer those questions on your own. And then when you finish that, restart the video and we will go over it together, okay? So pause the video, look at the invoice at the top of your page and use that information to answer those questions, okay? And then come back and we'll run through it together. All right, so I guess you are back to the video. You hit restart. You have completed exercise A. And so let's go over it together. All right, so exercise A, it says, read the questions. Look at the invoice. Fill in the answer, okay? Number 1, what was leaking? The sink, the shower, the toilet, the dishwasher. So let's look at the invoice. You see the second line on the invoice, it says shower leaking. So the answer to number 1 is B, the shower. And if you guys were in class and we were doing this as a group, I would ask you to answer the question as a complete sentence. So the answer to number 1 would be the shower was leaking. That's a complete answer. All right, number 2. Which repair was the most expensive? The most expensive, okay? That means it costs the most money, right? And that is a superlative, the most expensive. So we're comparing more than two things, right? So look, we have 3 repairs here, so that makes sense that they used the superlative. All right, so the clogged sink was $55. The leaking shower was $45. And the overflowed toilet was $95. So which repair was the most expensive? Meaning it cost the most money? Yes, the answer is C. So the way you would answer number 2 as a complete sentence, you would say the toilet was the most expensive repair. You can say the toilet repair was the most expensive, or you can say the toilet was the most expensive repair. All right. Number 3. How much is the subtotal? Now, if you look at this bill, you see the 3 charges, which is the 3 things that were repaired. And then after that, you see subtotal, and then you see tax, and then you see the total. So the subtotal is how much? $208.65? No, that's the total. The subtotal is $195. So number 3 is C. And to answer that as a complete sentence, the subtotal is $195. Now, just to talk about subtotal, when you get an invoice, you're probably going to have a subtotal on it because that is the amount, that's everything added up that's on that invoice. That's the subtotal. And then when you have to add something to it, like a surcharge or the taxes. So you add something additional, and then the next number would be your total. That means the subtotal plus any additional charges or any subtractions. You know, like sometimes you, if you go to the bank and you make a deposit, let's say you have maybe 2 checks and some cash that you want to deposit, and you list that on your deposit slip. You'll have your 2 check amounts, and then you'll have your cash. Then you have a subtotal. And if you want to make a withdrawal or take some of that, take away from that, then you subtract what you're going to withdraw. And then after that is the total deposit. So subtotals is the number before you do any final additions or subtractions to it, okay? But on an invoice, it's usually going to be adding a surcharge or adding tax to it. So I hope that makes sense. But anyway, so your subtotal is, in this instance, for this particular invoice, your subtotal is the amount before tax. Then when you add the tax, that gives you the total amount that you have to pay. All right, so number 4. What is another word on the form for bill? So your choices are invoice, guarantee, technician, and service. And the answer is yes, invoice. Because remember, I explained at the beginning of the class that an invoice is kind of like a bill. It shows you what work was done and what the cost is, or what goods you purchased if you were buying something and the cost for it. Okay. So number 4, another word for bill is invoice. Or you could say another word on the form for bill is invoice. So invoice and bill are very similar. They mean almost the same thing. Okay. But there are some words here at number 4 that I think we should go over because you might not be familiar with these words. So invoice, we already talked about. Guarantee. What is a guarantee? Because this invoice says, see it at the very top, right below the name of the company. It says, it has the address, and then it says 30-day guarantee on all repairs. So a guarantee means they mean if this problem happens again within 30 days, we'll come back and fix it. That's what a guarantee is. It means we are promising you that this is done correctly. And if it's not, we'll come back and fix it. So having a guarantee for the work performed is very, very important. And this company offers a 30-day guarantee. So guarantee, that might be a word you want to write in your notebook. Remember, in the back of your notebook is where we write new words that we're learning. So invoice, and then guarantee. I mean, in the guarantee, it's the same as like a warranty. It's a promise that the work is, we stand behind this work, basically. A guarantee. We stand behind this work. If it's not done right, we will fix it again. We will make it right. But the guarantee is good for a certain amount of time. And with this company, it's good for 30 days. So that's very important. All right. Technician. What's a technician? That's a word you might want to write in the back of your notebook to practice and use. Technician. That's the person doing the work. So technician, to pronounce this, is technician. Technician. And that's the person doing the work. I'll write it right here. So when you go and you have work done on your car, you go get an oil change. They call that person the technician. The guys working at the car shop, the auto shop, they are your service technician. All right, and then D, service. And service is just the work that was performed. Another service is another word for the work that was done. All right, so those are some new vocabulary words that you can add to your notebook. Invoice, that is like your bill, where it lists the work. Guarantee, that's same as a warranty, or is the company committing that the work is done right. And then the technician, that's the person doing the work. And service is the work itself, the work that was done. All right, so we got some new vocabulary there. Let's see. All right. Now, let me just tell you this. This is an important tip that I want to give you. When you do have work done, or when you're buying things and you get an invoice, it's very important for you to look over that invoice very carefully before you pay. Because you want to make sure, let's say in this case, it's a plumber that came to your house to do some plumbing work. You want to make sure that everything on that invoice they did. All the work that they listed on that invoice, they actually did that work. You want to make sure before you pay. So like on this invoice, the first thing it says sink clog. If they said they fixed the clogged sink, what you should do, put the stopper down, fill the sink up with water, and then open up the stopper so the water can go out. Make sure that water flows out very quickly. And if it's a good flow, you should hear a little gurgle sound as the water's going down. I can't describe what it's, but it's like a sound. So the water should go out very quickly out of your sink. If they fix the clog, it shouldn't sit and slowly drain out. It should go out very quickly. And the plumber told me you should get like a little swirl of water. That's why you want to fill the sink with water, then open that stopper, let the water go out. And the plumber says it should be a little swirl, like a little hurricane in the water swirling down if it's a nice, good open flow. So one thing to check for. He said the shower was leaking. They fixed that. Turn that shower on. Turn it to the hot. Turn it to the cold. And make sure that it doesn't leak. Let it run a little bit. Make sure the problem that you were having is fixed. The third thing on this invoice, they said they fixed an overflowing toilet. Flush the toilet more than once. Put some tissue in it. Flush it again. Make sure that that water goes down strong and quick like it's supposed to. So that's just something very important that you want to do. If you're buying goods, meaning or buying stuff, make sure that stuff on your invoice is in, if they boxed it up and put it in a box for you, look at everything and make sure that everything you're paying for is in that box or in that bag, okay? Because sometimes people make mistakes. Sometimes people try to cheat you on purpose. And so you want to be very careful about that, okay? So that's your tip from Teacher Stephanie today. Look at your invoice very carefully and make sure that anything someone says they fixed, you make sure that it works the way they said. All right? Okay. And one more tip. Keep that service invoice in a file. I usually keep mine for at least a year or for however long because I want to know what work I've been having done, what things I've had done. So I have a file of all the work that I've had done on my home. And I keep the invoice for things that I buy if they're expensive things like my refrigerator and appliances like that. You want to keep your invoices. So that's just another important thing for you. Save your invoices in case you have problems later on. All right, so let's see here. What are we going to do next? I think we're almost done. Oh, so let's look at exercise B. It says solve the problem. Which solution is best? Circle your opinion. Okay, so let's read that. A Plus Plumbing fixed Victor's bathroom shower on March 17th. On March 31st, the same shower leaked again. Imagine that. What should Victor do? Now, this is actually an easy one, right? Because at the top of Victor's invoice, you see it says a 30-day guarantee on all repairs. So if the repair was done on March 17th, that shower is leaking again on March 31st. That's within 30 days, right? Mm-hmm. So the choices are 1, call a new plumber. A Plus did a bad job. So if you call a new plumber, that means what? You got to pay again. So that's not a good choice. Number 2, fix the shower himself. No, I think not. Not when you paid somebody to fix something, they need to fix it. So no, not number 2. Number 3, call the same plumber. The work is guaranteed. How about that? And then number 4 is other. So I think you guys know what the correct answer is, right? It's 3. So yes, always look at your invoice for warranty or guarantee information. If you have a problem within the guarantee or warranty period, definitely call that same company back and ask them to come and fix it. And they should with no problem. So yes, so call the same plumber since the work is guaranteed. And I would call the same plumber anyway if it's been a short period of time, because most of them will come back and look at the work and redo it for you. But it's good to have a warranty just in case, because not all companies are honest. All right, so I think that does it for part 2 of our class for May 27th. That was page 120. And I think that does it. Thank you so much for coming to class. I hope you are safe and well, and I will see you in the next class. Bye. And don't forget to leave a comment, okay? Leave a comment in Facebook. That helps us so much to know how we can make things better for you, okay? All right. Take care. Bye-bye.